what would you say is the number one way to evaluate the first step in figuring out what you need to quit?
Quit going to meetings. No, I'm just kidding. Quit your next meeting. Kidding. Yeah, that's a great question. So I would look at kind of super tactical things. Like, what are some of the things that are on your calendar in terms of tasks, projects, or responsibilities that you handle often that you go, I just don't think this is working. Like, why are we doing this? This seems, it could be inefficient. It could be ineffective. It could be, that kind of thing. Because I think if you focus there, that's a lot easier than trying to go really big picture. Why do we have this program? Why do we have this ministry? Why do we devote staff resources to this? Those are big, high level things that are harder to answer. But start with the things that you have full control over. I'm stealing this example I heard from a guy who's a senior vice president at Chick-fil-A years ago. And he said everything falls into one of three buckets: things you can control, things you can influence, and things you can neither influence nor control. So I'd start with, what are the things that you control in your job, in your world, right? Start there and say, okay, maybe it's look at all of our social networks. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Justin Dean is, if you listen to Justin Dean, you're not on Snapchat. I have no idea
or
about
TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok, so I have no idea. But I mean, evaluate all the things you're doing, all the places you are. Just look at all of it and say, okay, what either makes me want to run from the building screaming every time I see this, or what do I think is just really not effective? Like, it's not reaching people, it's not engaging, it's not helping our church do what we need to do. It's a real drain on us. My guess is people listening to this before going through that process already know the answer. They could probably name 3 to 5 things right now. They're like, man, I just really wish I could quit it. So then your next thing becomes, can you really stop doing that do you have full authority? Great, stop it. Or delegate it, hand it off to somebody else, maybe look to be more efficient about it. But I'd start with things that you have full control over that are super tactical, and create a little bit of breathing room and say, okay, I'm going to stop doing these things in the new year. It's just not worth it. We may pick those things back up later, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I will encourage people and say, I'm potentially working with a church in 2020. It's one of the 10 largest churches in the country. And they want to go through the story brand process, but they really, I'm part of another guy who's bringing me in. He's another outside guy, where he's trying to help their executive team build their whole strategy. They've got 9 or 10 campuses, tens of thousands of people a weekend, and there's no process for filtering decisions.
Wow.
It's like, how did we get to this point? And I've talked to other people. I've talked to a guy who's on staff at one of the top 3 churches in the country. I posted that comment somewhere, and he texted me. He's like, hey man, we're having the same problem. It's like, everybody has that problem. So there are the big churches too, who are trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to cut back so we can continue growing? Right? Where do we need to trim over here so we can focus more over there? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to, are you and your church staff being good resources of the time, money, and attention that you're given in order to reach the most people and be as effective as you can be?